just like test. All right, we're starting. Let me post this. Okay, kind of waiting to see it on Instagram. And then I'll know what's happening. Oh. Hmm. No, that page won't do. I'll just take that out. Ugh. Yeah. Just editing. Nope, cut that joke. All right, that's a pretty good page. I can stay in. Hello. Hello, people. Book release day. This feels so awkward. I never do Instagram lives. Hi. All right, we're just gonna wait for some more people to join us. This is that part where just I sit around awkwardly and people are virtually walking into the room. I can look out the window, which is nice. Look at people walking by. Can't read my own book. I mean, I'm probably far enough away from Woman World now that I can actually read it. All right. Yeah, dimples. Cool. Well, maybe I can talk a little bit about the book. Start there. You guys seen this cover? Look at that. See, that's when it's helpful when you're next to a window. Ooh. I'm guessing most people who have this version haven't even read it because they're just doing that a lot. Fancy. Oh. That's so cool. I've also already destroyed my copy because I'm so clumsy and I have dropped it multiple times. Really bad with books, I guess. In my defense, it was heavier than I thought it would be when I picked it up and I just dropped it. So that's kind of a compliment to myself that I wrote more than I thought I would. But I've been debating whether I should just fill in that part with black Sharpie. But then I also don't want someone to come over and see that I've done that to my own book. At that point, I'd have to commit and also just write with black Sharpie throughout the book. Give myself some notes. Right, so Encyclopedia Exotica. I guess I should do a description of it. I have it literally written down because I'm sometimes so bad at describing my own book. So sad. Okay, Encyclopedia Exotica is a series of comics exploring the minority experience, such as microaggressions, through the lens of a Cyclops community in a majority two-eyed world. Such a serious version of it. but I'm guessing a lot of the people who are here have probably already knew that. But you maybe need the reminder. And I can tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in England, in Wembley, and then moved to Canada to Woodbridge first. That part always gets hidden. I don't know why. It's as if I'm not like proud of it, but it's just because I wasn't in Woodbridge that long. To Brampton, where I went to middle school and went to high school. And then I went to Sheridan College and studied animation. And right after graduating, like the summer after, I moved to LA and did an internship at Nickelodeon, and then ended up staying in LA. And I've been here now for a decade, which makes me feel so old. I'm just such an old person now. All the people who are joining now, who are joining late, have missed my amazing summary of my life, which I'm also sometimes really bad at. I have like a goldfish memory that like, if I ever go for like job interviews, I have to like make Cliff's notes and stuff. Like I have to use my own resume to remind myself of the things I've done. Just like, I should know, the thing I should know most is my own life. I also have the amazing stained glass right here. You can see me right through it. It is really hard to get a good picture of stained glass because it's glass. So that was like shockingly hard. Should see the outtakes. But you gotta admit, that is so cool. So cool. I wonder if I can do like the right next to it. Yeah, here we go. Let's see if I can hold two things at once, class. I was not born to be a teacher. And wow, look at that. That's so cool. So amazing. I always love seeing like just things that like I could not make myself. I have no idea how this bee here made somehow exist, much bee. Even though I put together that making off video, the entire time I was like, what magic is this? Jen, who made it, did tell me that like there's lead or something, like it's like made of lead. So she was like, wash your hands after touching it a lot. Like, don't put your hands in your mouth. But I'm not gonna have a moment to do that here. So if you see me put my hands in my mouth now that I've touched it, you got to witness me get lead poisoning. So that's like a fun Instagram live event. That's like that whole do it for the Vine thing. That could be a do it for the Instagram live. I also have it like wrapped up in a t-shirt right now because I still got to figure out exactly where I want it. I've been looking for the perfect lighting, and I got to grab a chain to like hang it up. I also don't trust myself. It's made of glass. It's just asking to be broken. So I'm just kind of waiting for someone who knows how to hold things properly before I like put it up. Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, waving it around is bad enough. I also for a second was thinking about like putting it in this like window, like just hanging it up there for like the Instagram live. And my fear was that it would just like slip and like fall behind me. And I was already planning about how I would react to that. And I was like, why am I planning for this? That makes no sense. I'm just leaving it close to the ground for now. It is actually sturdier than I thought it would be, which is like pretty nice. But still, it's glass. It's glass. I wonder if I can like pull a Banksy and like go and like change out some stained glass at like a local church or something. Put my Cyclops in. I also have my book plate here. Look at that. Put it right up close. Oh, look at that. I feel like such a YouTuber. Oh my gosh, my fear with putting anything close to the camera is that people will see that I chew my nails. I have been to events where someone will be like, oh, and then we'll like do a close-up of like blah, 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 your book or something. And like my hands will be in it. I'm like, no. I chew them a lot. I can't stop. I just got to a point where I'm just like, that's just what I do. If that's how I get nervous, okay, that's fine. Right? But anyway, this is what I actually want to talk about. Hey, look at that. So cool. I haven't signed this one. There's only so many you can sign before, and then I start feeling like my name doesn't make any sense anymore. There's only so many times you can see your own name. I made that video about me having to remind myself how to spell my own name, which is based entirely in truth. I do have to spell my own name to myself. And I wish I could show all the book plates I've signed, because there's like a third of them that are missing the N maybe in my name, a third which are missing the I. If you have a book plate already, go ahead and check. You might just see a random dot as if I have dotted the I, but I haven't. I wish I knew how to spell my own name. The other thing about signing books is when someone comes up to you and like, this is my perspective, is usually like, they're like, oh, can you sign my book? And they'll like hand it to me. And then I'm like trying to have a conversation. And at some point they usually say their own name and I didn't hear it. And I start to panic. And I'm like, I can't be rude. Like, this person has like come to me and like, they're so nice. They've like bought my book. I'm always shocked when someone's done that. And now they're asking me to sign it. How could I forget their name? And it's just because I'm like so in the moment. So I'll start to panic and I'm going backwards in my like memory while trying to still hold a conversation. Just ask is what I've learned. Just ask again, or ask for how you spell it. That is a great way to get around having missed someone's name. I know that there is at least one woman world out there where I did not sign my name. I spent so long drawing in it. This is so sad. Someone came to me to get their book signed. I spent so long drawing in the book that I forgot to sign it. And I don't even know if they noticed, because I don't know how often people are actually looking at like the signing page, but they walked away. And there was a moment where I was like, I don't think I know. And then I got up to kind of like maybe see where they were, and they had already left. I felt so bad. I had completely didn't sign my name, sign their book, did the one thing they had like lined up for. But maybe that makes it extra special. It doesn't. I've also have one mistake of completely mishearing what someone had asked for me to write in their book. And I remember like asking them to repeat it, or trying to just ask them to, no, they said it wrong here. I remember the anecdote. I remember moments from my own life. They said it, I misheard it. And then I said, oh, okay, completely misheard it. I think they had said for the students of some college, and I heard to the idea of that college. So I signed it to like the idea of a university. And I remember like they took the book and looked at it. And then I was also like, is that what you wanted? That is not what they wanted. So then I took the book back and like had to put in a correction in my own signing of like, that's what I heard. Whoops. At that point, I didn't have any like extra copies because I would have just given one away for free and re-signed it. But I think it's funnier that exists out there. It's talking just in anecdotes to myself. I'm just getting used to Instagram Live right now. I just like, is this what influencers do? Just talk to a lens. I also don't know if I'm like just supposed to be looking at the camera part of the phone, or like, what am I meant to be looking at? Just my own place. Well, let's talk a little bit more about Cyclops, I guess. I've had a lot of fun drawing Cyclops, and I'm also at that point now where like I would be cool to like not draw Cyclops for a very long time. I think after Woman World, I was so excited to draw men, which has never before happened in my life because I like kind of default to women. And now I'm like, I remember when I started it, I was like, haha, suckers, I got away with drawing one eye. And now I'm like, two characters can have two eyes and they can be so expressive, three eyes even. Something I learned in drawing Cyclops is that it is really hard to capture the same expressions with the one eyebrow. Try and do like, the intriguing, the rock face, the rock, the Dwayne Johnson face. Can't do that. So I had to figure out ways to kind of connect the eyebrow like a unibrow and then have it do the same thing, but you kind of have to lose some expressions. And I'm very nitpicky about expressions, so that was interesting for me. But I've enjoyed kind of exploring the Cyclops world. I kind of went with them because in my experience, they're the most kind of human-like and out of a lot of the monsters or the creatures that exist out there. And geez, I can't believe people are watching this. I assumed I'd be talking to an empty room. But you guys are here. Crazy. I'm almost judging you guys. All right, so I started with Cyclops because I lost my own train of thought. Choo-choo. Because I really like drawing monsters, but Cyclops were already so humanoid. And so it was really interesting to explore all these kind of avenues you could take with such a humanoid creature. I don't buy into that whole thing that Cyclops are huge monsters. Mythology. But I am also so excited to not draw them anymore. This is the part where I have I just stare into space and think about how many Cyclops I've drawn. Sometimes I draw them with two eyes just for the rush. All right, so how long did you work on the book? How did you keep up your energy and enthusiasm? 2.5 years, I think, is what I counted. Geez, that's a long time. Wow, yeah, 2.5 years is how I kind of counted it. And I have these really early sketches, which might even be a little longer than that. But yeah, that's how long it was kind of going. And to keep up the energy and enthusiasm, dang, if your own projects don't get you excited, it's time to take a break probably and get excited again. You don't have to force yourself to have to, I mean, you might have a deadline, but a lot of the times, even if you just take 3 or 4 days away, it's enough that you're kind of excited to get back to it. I think the other way I try and stay enthusiastic and stay excited is to watch or ingest media that inspires me. I'm just so impressed with other things or other storytelling that I want to make something like that. That's generally how when I see something inspiring, that's my reaction. And that takes me right back to my own projects. And all right, Corntrees is asking, how much is there in the book that hasn't been shown on Instagram? There's a lot. Let me go page by page. There's actually a lot because a lot of the comics themselves have been changed. They've been updated. But there's the entire introduction. There's the entire back end. I'm going through the pages right now, and all of these are not on Instagram. There were some things where I kind of felt I didn't know how to do them justice by putting them on Instagram, because Instagram is a very specific format and it already takes me a lot of time to go between formats. And so I got to a point where I was like, well, this part doesn't have to be online because I already posted so much, and there is some closure if someone only ever experiences the book or the series as Instagram posts, then at least they got some sort of closure. But then there's something extra special for the people who bought the book, because the feeling of reading a book is so different versus the feeling of scrolling on Instagram or also experiencing the comic as like a twice a week update. It's a very different thing, and that's something I learned from Woman World. So I wanted to make sure that I kept them somewhat separate. I move my arms a lot, so I feel like I'm very bad for the Instagram live format. I feel like I have to find my walls. Trapped. All right, so Petty Pencil Comics. Hey, thank you. Thanks for the congratulations. All right, so you're asking, how do you know an idea has enough behind it to keep making it into a whole piece of work? How do you bail on ideas that are running dry versus ones like this? That's a very good question. I don't know if I've had always the foresight to know that everything is worth exploring as whatever format I choose for it. A lot of the times the public will tell you whether it should be in that format, but I just know that I stick to a story for as long as I enjoy it, and I generally do like outline it and stuff, so I know where things are going. But I can honestly say the day I started Cyclopedia Exotica, I didn't know it was going to be a book. There might have been some hope, but I didn't know at that moment. But like 50 comics in, by that point I knew. By that point I had like a general idea of like where I wanted it to go. So I kind of had to let the idea keep going, and then it told me what it was. That's such an artsy answer. But I've had the opposite, where I've had ideas that they tell you that like this is a TV show pitch. So my ideas speak to me, I guess. They have voices. I keep hearing their voices. But I've had to bail on a few ideas, but I guess I wouldn't call it bailing. Just like some ideas are better as zines. I did Dead End Jobs for Shortbox, which I knew was a story I wanted to make, like that was like short, that would be concise. It was a little longer than what I had originally pitched it to Zainab as, but I just knew that that was like the length that kind of fit, because that's how long you maybe wanted to stay with that story. But I don't know if I actually like bail on that many ideas. Maybe I have a giant ego. I mean, I'm sure you're seeing on Instagram Live now that I have a gigantic head that does not fit the average hat size. Please don't send me hats. They will not fit my huge head. So maybe I just have a massive ego and think all my ideas are so great that they should exist in some format. To me, ultimately, if the only version of an idea is that it exists on Instagram, that's fine too. I love posting online. I love the instant reactions. I've also posted Cyclopedia on Tapas, and Woman World is on Webtoon, which like also feels very different from Instagram. So they exist somewhere, and I think that's fair. All right, we've got another question. All right, sorry, I'm reading. I feel like that's extra boring. Do you guys want to see me just read? I can just quietly sit here and read. My head is huge. I discovered this. I feel like every person has like that teenage moment where you like realize you might not fit the norm in some way. And that for me was my own head size, where like you'd go to a store and I'm like, oh, this is a nice hat. And then like I couldn't shove, like I would like take it from like the hat rack and it looked like a normal sized hat. And as it reached my own head, it looked like a tiny hat for like a Lego man. And I would try and like force it on and be like ripping it on. And then like if you do that, it just makes like it looks all really tight on top of your head. Sometimes I feel like that's like the reason I have curly hair, is just so that like people think it's my hair that's big and not my gigantic head. I'm okay with it. it just always looks like, to me, I'm like, I see people think I'm just like always leaning in because my head looks disproportionate to the rest of me. And I'm sure Sheryl Sandberg would be proud that I'm always, I guess, leaning in. I constantly refer to that book just because I find the title so funny. I'm so glad people are getting their copies. I couldn't believe that like people were getting their copies last week. This guy, the Indigo version. I like had so many people send me pictures, and like I was like, yeah. That was my actual reaction. Many of the reactions in my head are very much Scooby-Doo sounds. I was really shocked. It was really cool that Indigo was sending them out. What I thought was like early, and all those Canadians got to feel extra special. But I was like, I didn't know how to react. I was like, you're not meant to have that yet. What bookstore have you stolen from? Didn't help that I was like watching The Sopranos at the time, I guess. But it's so cool to see that people are getting them today. I generally feel like book release days are like extremely anticlimactic because like for weeks before you're like, yay, get the book, please pre-order, get it. And then the day off, it's like, it's in stores now. And like a lot of people won't react because it's like, well, now they have to read it. So there's like this few days wait where you're just like, I don't know what I'm waiting for. Like, you know, is a parade that much to ask for? I don't know, drawing quarterly. Could you not have thrown a parade? But like, I was kind of shocked with like Woman World, where I was like, don't know what I expected for the day off, but I was just like sitting at home and I was like, I guess it's out now. And then I drove to my local Barnes and Noble to be like, I should go see it on like a bookshelf. And then they didn't have it on their bookshelf. And I was like, I can't ask. Like I have to just hope that it's like sold out, but like, or like maybe they just haven't put it out yet. But I felt like I couldn't go ask to see it. I had this fear like that, like I would ask and like the person would be like, oh, okay, like Woman World by Aminder Dhaliwal, and they like might go find it somewhere like shoved in the back or something. And then like I'd go to buy a book and they would see my credit card and it would be my name and they'd be like, oh, like that was my fear. That would be their reaction. I was also just telling Julia and Kay at Drawing Quarterly that that I drove around looking for the New York Times to see my face in a newspaper, and it took me 2 hours to find the newspaper. And the first hour, I was like, it's all right. You're in the New York Times. That's so cool. You should go find it. You should like a copy. But the second hour, when I was trying to find it, and in my defense, it was just like kind of late in the day. And like, I think like newspapers are kind of just like out, you know, at 9 a.m. That's when people actually want to read the news. By the second hour, I was like, you're so like, you've got a massive ego apparently, because you're still driving around looking for like a piece of paper with your face on it. Like, really, this is who you are? And then I found a copy and then I was like, yay, and I like came home. But it's so weird how it like messes up with like your ego and stuff. It's yeah, it's like just kind of funny how like your brain goes back and forth on it. But you know, how often do I get to do this? I love everyone who's talking about like their head size. There's a whole community of people. I feel like there should be like a Facebook group for all the people with giant heads. The small-headed people will never understand us. They just won't. All they have to do is like, you know, like just kind of comb their hair bigger, just like do an updo. That's all they have to do. Us big-headed people, it's like, is this now too much hair? Should I like, you know, like, do I try hat still? It's you just have to avoid the whole thing. And then the fear that you'll go somewhere and someone's going to make you put something on your head. It's like when you go bowling and you have to tell people your shoe size. I don't know why that always like, I feel like I have to whisper it, like as if like that it's a secret between me and the bowling alley. size 9 for anyone who was wondering. But now I think I'm like a size 8. I didn't know you're like, do your feet shrink, I guess? I don't know. But at some point I like lost a size in shoe. Maybe my head is also smaller now too. Maybe I should go try some hats. All right. So how do I manage burnout versus progress? Ooh. Stares into the abyss. Oh gosh. How do I manage burnout? I don't know if I do. I found that for a very long time, I used to think that relaxing was doing fun things. Um, I didn't realize how much it didn't help that I had never been taught how to relax. I don't know if anyone needs to be taught that, but maybe you do. I used to think that like, okay, I'm like done with this project. I'm gonna go play some video games. I'm done with this project. I'm gonna go like watch a movie. But relaxing is actually doing things that gives your brain a break. And playing video games doesn't give your brain a break. In fact, your brain might be like more on than ever. It's very like in the moment and reactionary. Watching a movie as well, for me, like you're following a plot, there's like a wave of emotions involved. Reading a book, your brain is involved. So I had to learn to do things that actually turn my brain off. And most of those are really, really boring. They are things that like, they are taking a bath and not having a book with you, just like being in the bath. They are taking a nap. They are meditating. They are going for a walk without your music, without a podcast, just like going for a walk, listening to nature. What? But I had to like learn that after like a little while to be like, oh, my brain needs to reset. And I'm not giving it an opportunity to reset. I'm just ingesting more media. I'm just taking in other things. And I feel like I'm switching off from this one project onto something else. But that's not the same as relaxing. So I've kind of learned to just like phase out and like daydream and like let my mind kind of wander. I used to be a never napper. Like I used to never nap. And now I'm all for it. I'm trying to like get it into my like every day. I will find like a nice cozy like corner and like just curl up and like try and nap. Sometimes I just lie there, but I'm become such a fan of just doing that like it's really helped my brain take a break. I think it's really helpful for people who do have also like anxiety on top of that. It's just like good to like take a beat. And then the progress part of like feeling guilty for not progressing, you have to be like incredibly forgiving to yourself, I think, when you're in a creative position. And I know I'm just probably saying things you already know, and that's fine. Like I'm sure you know all these things, but like if you can take a moment to really treat yourself as if you were talking to another artist, I think it would really help you to see that like just be nicer to yourself. The amount of times I see people post to like social media and they start the post with, I'm so sorry, it's been so long. And it's like, just take that part out. Just take out the I'm so sorry. You don't need to apologize. Honestly, no one probably even noticed that you didn't post. We all think that we're so special and that we're like the center of everyone else's attention, that like we need to apologize, but you're probably drawing more attention to it by apologizing. Cyclopedia, I missed more updates than I ever missed with Woman World. And I don't think it really made a difference. Sometimes I'd feel guilty, and sometimes I'd be like, well, I'll just hit the next one. And I've just kind of learned to be a little nicer to myself. Yes, there is a different cover for Indigo. Voila. Look at that. It went with completely different colors. I don't know. I don't know which one I like better. It's like you can't decide that, right? That's like, you can't do, like, no, parents can't do that with their children, right? But all parents secretly have a favorite. I secretly have a favorite. I won't tell you which one. Don't worry, you're both special to me. I mean, they're both the same on the inside, and I love them equally on the inside. very much a do not judge a book by its cover moment. But I do like the colors both, and I love this like shiny stuff. I'm like really into it now. This foiling, it's really cool. But I also find it distracting because I'm just like, oh, all the time. The original cover, I swear, I really just like putting it next to another version of the book on the back, and just like always being like, it makes one eye, and I will forever be so excited about that edge. Oh, look at that edge printing. Look at that. So cool. That's so cool. I don't even know how they do that. I have like in my brain some like version which is like very Willy Wonka-esque. I'm sure that's not how it's done, but it's very exciting to me. So Indigo asked for a special cover. That's kind of like how it worked. It was very exciting for me. I'm always kind of shocked when anyone wants to do something special with me. I need to have more confidence. You're gonna see, I should put like a confidence bar and should slowly go up as like more and more people are interacting with this. Again, you'll see my head just get bigger and bigger. But that was really exciting, partially because I had always had an idea for a second cover. I mean, a lot of books kind of have their second cover on the inside. So like, this is kind of what I think of as a second cover. Maybe it has a more technical name, I don't know. But that's how it's written in my files, the second cover. And I always thought like it should be very encyclopedic. You know, those like old school encyclopedias with like all the fancy foil on them. So I'm kind of glad I got to explore it and do that, because it doesn't appear as a second cover. I didn't really think it was working inside the book in black and white. So I felt like this chance for redemption. The light, it shone down on me. And I knew. I'm discovering my own book live. All right, let's see what else is happening. Big Heads of America. I didn't know that shoe sizes could shrink. That's been shocking to me. And I feel like I also discovered that at a bowling alley where I was like, why am I so bad at bowling? It must be the shoe size. And then I put on the right shoe size and I was unstoppable. And here's my trophy. No, I don't have a trophy. I love both covers too. And they sit right next to each other on my bookshelf. And when people come in, I make them read my books. No, I don't. But they sit right next to each other. So I feel like they're friends. They're best friends. I do like that the Indigo version has the eyes over here as well. But I also like just love the eye at the top. Is that weird? I'm just like sitting here complimenting myself. I don't know. It's been long enough that it feels like a different version of me made this book. So like, I'm like, good job, past Aminder. Yeah, that kind of like 1800-ish like encyclopedic feel. That's what I wanted to go for. Like, I like some botany books have it. I for some reason in my memory had it like I grew up with like all the Britannicas, and I was like, you know, the cover of that. And then I went and like looked, and I was like, oh, they're like kind of boring. I don't know what I was picturing, but like kind of 1800-ish fancy style book. I'm just reading stuff and scrolling. Oh, thank you. Am I desperate to come off as funny? Because I mean, I'm just desperate for people to like me, I guess. That's the key to success, is desperation. Ask me to give your school talks. Apparently I'm great. I could talk about desperation all day. I have a throat spray here so I can like numb my throat because I'm not used to talking anymore. The pandemic has made me like lose my voice. Whenever I just have a normal conversation, I like remember suddenly like, wow, that like requires work. And like my throat muscles are like, what are you doing? And then like a half hour later, I'm just like, yeah. So after like the event with Ezra yesterday, I had to like use the spray. And I hope everyone comes to the Indigo event tomorrow. I'm going to be posting more about that. But yeah, I just like lose my voice now. I'm gonna have to slowly learn how to talk to people. The Skylight event is also next Friday. I was at Skylight yesterday, yes, signing books, and I had forgotten how to like interact. It took a moment, and like I just feel like that's how we're the first like 3-4 months when like the world kind of reopens. I think it's just going to be everyone being awkward and say hi to everybody. Hello, me talk out loud. That's just the way it's going to be, because that is exactly how I walked into Skylight to say that I was there to sign books. And I don't think it came out as a proper sentence, but there's definitely sign book me in there. And I believe it was understood. I love that. Corn trees, yes, we would be friends. It feels really weird on my end because I'm just looking at my own face. And so there's just like this sheer amount of like nervousness and hatred. No, I don't hate myself. I'm a pretty cool person, I think. When you say vulnerable things, it always helps to put on a voice. And laugh at your own jokes. My mom does that. My mom laughs at her own jokes. So I'm just going to lean into that as well, because I would laugh at her laughing at her own jokes, because that's also funny. And I think she thought we were laughing at the jokes, me and my siblings, but we were often laughing that she was laughing at her own jokes. And if I'm that person, I'm okay with it. I like laughing. So it's been like 40 minutes and like I'm told I could wrap up. I think I'm just going to go for the solid, like, I don't know, 45, maybe 50. I'm just going to like force John Quarterly to like, you guys just to stay with me. I feel like I've never said your names out loud. I mean, I've said Julia out loud, but like now I'm like, how do you pronounce Kaya? Kaya? Is it Kaya or Kaya? You guys tell me. You guys don't know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Ron Curley behind the scenes. There's a little behind the scenes of how this is all being done. Kaya. All right. See, these are the cool people at Ron and Quarterly. I could talk about that, how amazing they are as publishers. So when you know, back in the old days when everything was black and white or sepia toned, I prefer to think of the past as sepia. And I'd go to signings and like I'm doing like signings and I'm so used to like people you know, just like being forced to do something for like hours from animation. And then like Julia would come up to me and be like, are you okay? Do you like need a break? And I was so not used to being like asked that kind of thing that I was like really thrown back. And I was like, no, it's fine. I can keep going. But like, they're just so loving and they like really take care of you. And I've loved working with everyone there. I constantly feel this need for them to like me because I'm so impressed with everything they do. So I'm just so happy to have their D&Q, their logo on my books. That's actually not their logo. This is their logo on my books. I think that is one of the coolest parts of having a book is your favorite publisher. That's so wicked. What am I doing next? That is the question. That is the dreaded question, right? Of like making anything. I feel like one of the questions always ends up being like, and what now? And like my reaction is like, but me do something already. Me be do something. Please let me be. I am trying to relax. Trying. You know what? I've been pretty good at relaxing. I feel like pandemic era has kind of forced that. But I'm also really excited to have started on my next comic. This is like the first time I've been like ready with it. So that's really exciting. It just requires a lot of artwork, which hasn't been done yet. But hey, this guy is coming out. So I had to be excited for that. And I have to do events and I got to do interviews and I got to answer all these intellectual questions. And I have to sound smart. And my big fear is that I don't sound smart. So I look up words on the thesaurus before an interview and I'm like, I'm going to use that word. I'm going to sound real smart. I don't do that. but I like learning new words and realizing how many words I don't know. uh, all right, we're at 45 minutes. Let's see, should I wrap this up? I should. How should I wrap this up best? What should I do? Maybe I think it'd be a good thing to kind of mention the acknowledgements. Some of the people that mattered in the making of this book, as I have to like refer to my own book to be like, who mattered? So the first thank you is for my husband, Nicholas Illich. He did all the color. I mean, he helped so much with the artwork. I have the best video behind the scenes. I'll probably post it later today of him just like, I posted it once before of me walking out of like from my office and into his, and he was just close up on Etna's nipple, like painting it. And I was like, this is the life we live. This be good life. The next thank you is for Kenneth Hung, who has proofread like every comic, because I have this massive fear when posting on Instagram about like spelling mistakes, and there's spelling mistakes. It's fine. There's always going to be spelling mistakes. It's Instagram. But like, I will send him comics at horrible hours and he always responds and he's always willing to look at them. And let's see. Oh, there's like work being done outside. Do you guys hear that? Megan Dong and Maha Tabik for the notes. They have been some of the best creative juice I have found. I will mind them. And then there is like a list of the entire Drawn and Quarterly. I was about to say crew, room. What's the word here? Everyone at Drawn Quarterly. I'm not going to say their names right now because I will butcher all of them because I've never really had to say them out loud. And I'm going to have like a repeat of Kaya. But everyone, thank you so much for everything you've done. And then the hidden thank you is for you guys. That's me pointing right down the barrel. For everyone who read it in the making of on Instagram, which is what I consider the making of. Thank you for sticking by, and hopefully thank you for ordering it if you could as well, because I do post so much of it, almost all of it online for free. Which I enjoy doing, and it just is a way of working that I've enjoyed. But to the people who bought the book, thank you especially. You get the extra special thanks. And I think I might kind of call it there. I think that's a good place to end it, right? Like this is now where the credits would start rolling, or like if we were at an award show, the music would have started to play, and I'm just kind of like keep going and the mic cuts out. But yeah, let's call that. And now I'll just continue reading my own book, discovering it just live on Instagram. And I'm planning to sit here for the next 10 hours while I go page by page. It's quiet time, guys, now. It's just time for us to all read. Bye.